I don't know how to feel about Monday Night Raw being 2 hours again, man. What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to MKE MANIACI. And I gotta get this off my chest, man. So we gotta talk about Monday Night Raw last night. It's the first Raw in the last 12 years that wasn't 3 hours long, man. Now, I got some notes here, and I gotta keep it real. And I gotta firstly come off by saying I was wrong. Now, initially, when they made the announcement that Raw was going to be 2 hours for the remainder of the year up until the Netflix deal, starts and kicks off the beginning of the year, I was pretty excited about it, and maybe I was blinded by nostalgia a little bit because, us growing up, if you watched during the Ruthless Aggression era, the Attitude Era, listen, Monday Night Raw was 2 hours long. It was 2 hours long, just like how SmackDown's 2 hours, and when they announced the 3 hour shift back in 2012, I actually got pretty excited about it. And it was really cool at first. Who would complain about more wrestling? If you were a big wrestling fan, you loved it. And then after a while, it just seemed like the show kind of dragged on a little bit. And then after a while, it's like, okay, it's just the show feels too stretched out. The show is too long. It's a lot of pointless segments. It's a lot just like put in there, and for a long time, I say up until the last year or so, I was like, man, they need to go back to 2 hours. And then this year started. When this year started, we got the final boss and we got, the build to WrestleMania 40. I was intrigued. And once again, I kind of pushed the idea of a 2 hour Raw out of my head because I'm like, man, it fit as much as you can into this 3 hours. Like, I'm intrigued once again, but we got to talk about it, man. So, I don't know why I feel like last night's show just felt forced and a little rushed in my personal opinion. And I don't know why I feel weird about it because you look at NXT, you look at SmackDown. I watch NXT every single week. I watch SmackDown every week, and they seem to fit every single storyline perfectly. We get a little bit of everything in NXT and SmackDown. They build up rivalries, they built the storylines perfectly, they execute it perfectly. I think NXT does an exceptional job of this, but I don't know, maybe it is because Raw has a lot of open storylines at the moment. I mean, let's see, we got Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed. That promo took a good little chunk. We had this build up of the New Day possibly splitting up with Xavier Woods and Kofi. We got, of course, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. They got to continue their feud. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Braun Breaker attacking Jey Uso, the Intercontinental Champion. So that feud's reignited. We got Sheamus and Pete Dunne, who had an incredible match last night on Monday Night Raw. We got the Pure Fusion Collective, Sonya and Zoe and Shayna. And whatever they're doing, we got Gunther and Sami Zayn going at it. Miz and R-Truth are starting a feud, and not to forget the Wyatt Six are members of Monday Night Raw. So it is a lot going on Monday Night Raw at the moment, and maybe we gotta give it some time to let storylines end. But we're only really dealing with realistically about an hour and a half if you add in the commercials and the promos and everything, man. But I don't know, man. Now don't get me wrong, last night, even though the show felt a little rushed and a little forced, there were moments that I did enjoy. That Donnybrook match between Sheamus and Pete Dunne, chef's kiss. I love that match. The main event with Gunther and Sami Zayn, I love that match. Now, I do want to say the Intercontinental Championship match between Jey Uso and Xavier Woods, I wish went a little longer. And if it was a 3 hour format, it would have went a little longer. I think it would have been probably the most talked about match of the night. And then the women's tag team match, what was it, Natalya and Kaden and Katana and Lyra, all that, like, it just felt like the Divas era all over again with that. Like, you don't get a lot of time. But with Netflix coming up, it was at Bad Blood over the weekend. Triple H was asked, is Raw gonna stay 2 hours when we go over to Netflix in January? Triple H said, I don't know. I'll let you know when I find out. And maybe this is the experimental period of this. Let's see, what can we shift Raw to being back to 2 hours and have it on the same frequency as NXT and as SmackDown? Can everything flow perfectly? At the moment, I get this was just the first one in the last 12 years. We got to give it some time to breathe out. But at the moment, I would like to see Monday Night Raw go back to 3 hours as of right now, especially with the Netflix deal. You know, they're gonna have a little more wiggle room as far as content goes, as far as like, you know, you're on the streaming service, so you can pretty much, and I'm pretty sure Netflix is giving them the green light to do whatever they really want, as long as they get people to tune in and subscribe to Netflix. So I wouldn't mind Raw going back to 3 hours once it hits Netflix. Now, 10 years ago, I don't know if I would have said the same. You know, like I said, at first, when it went 3 hours, it was exciting. You know, CM Punk was WWE champion. The Rock was there. It was pretty exciting for a little bit, and then around like 2014-ish, 2015-ish, it kind of got a little, like, that's when it kind of started wearing out. It picked back up in 2016, but then it kind of dipped again 2017, 2018, 19, etc. Now, I do want to give this some time. Like I said, this is the first Monday Night Raw in the last 12 years that it is 2 hours. We still have ongoing feuds and storylines. You can't just end them right now without any resolution. But I do kind of worry as far as, you know, from a talent perspective, you're taking an hour away from this show, you know, not enough TV time for everybody. But there is a way around this. I do expect, you know, if they keep the 2 hour format when Netflix, you know, continues with Monday Night Raw in January, I can maybe see them moving some talent over to NXT. You know, NXT's touring again. You gotta sell the arenas out. You know, I watch NXT every week, so I'm very familiar with all of the talent on the roster, but there are some fans that only watch Raw and SmackDown. Their favorite people are only on Raw and SmackDown, so you move some of them over. You kind of, you know what I mean, like kind of share the load and just have some superstars that are on Monday Night Raw go over to NXT to bring some star power back out, to get people to want to go to the NXT shows every week as they tour, man. I mean, there's definitely ways around this, man, but long story short, man, I will say this: I was completely wrong at the moment, and this is how I feel today, 24 hours removed from the 2 hour Raw last night. I was wrong, and I shouldn't have jumped to such excitement when they announced 2 hours again, because it just, I don't know, man. There was some good moments last night, but I'm like, this feels kind of weird, man. Like I kind of missed 3 hours of Raw, and that's just my personal opinion. I will gladly say I was wrong, and this is at the moment. My mind could change as they, you know, find more balance. It is still at the beginning stages of, once again, adjustments. So, but NXT and SmackDown pull it off great. So I expect if they keep this, Raw's gonna also fall in line that same way, man. But I just had to get that off my mental, man. So yeah, man, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me for more wrestling related content. And until the next video, man, I'll see you then. Thank you for watching. MKE MANIACI out.